Hi everyone, I'm Graham Hurst. I'm the Managing Director here at Ministry of Furniture. I think a lot of you might know us as the company that emerged from Remploy Furniture a few years ago. I've been in the furniture business now for around about 30 years, and we're producing a series of short videos just to help you with some key decisions that you might need to make around making contract furniture purchasing decisions. Today we're going to look specifically at classroom tables, the edges that make the difference in what you're going to purchase, and the frame styles and the differences and how that will drive price when you're making your purchase. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is the different styles of table edges that you'll tend to find available in the UK market, specifically for classroom tables, although the commentary I'm going to give you tends to cover all types of table edges, or at least the most popular ones that we tend to come across. So the first one that I'm going to look at here is what's called an MDF edge. MDF is a shortening of medium density fibre board, and you can probably pick that up there. The core is a very common product that we see in the marketplace. You've probably find it in kitchen furniture and bedroom furniture, where the edge is actually just a continuation of the core, and it tends to be shaped usually into a bullnose profile like that. And it tends to be lacquered, clear lacquered, or you can paint it, but it tends to be clear lacquered on the edge here. It's a very cost-effective edge because it's very easy for the manufacturer to work with it, which means it tends to be at the budget end of the table market. In our personal experience, if budget's a challenge, that will work well, particularly for schools. However, by comparison to the other edges that I'm going to show you, you'll tend to find reflected in the guarantee that it's not as robust as other edges that you might want to consider. Okay, so the next edge type that we're going to look at is an ABS edge. I won't even try and pronounce what ABS stands for, but it's going along the screen there now for you probably. So you can read it quicker than I can say it. Sometimes you hear it referred to as a PVC edge, which I can do, is polyvinyl chloride. There are subtle differences between the edges, but essentially you'll see these in suppliers' catalogues as being called the same thing. That type of edge essentially is a plastic edge. It can be a contrasting edge to the laminate top, or it can be, as you can see here, what people tend to call a self edge, a same coloured edge. So you have to get a timber effect to match the timber, or the timber effect that's on the top of the table, in this case a classroom table. Very, very common product that is used in office furniture in particular. It's very versatile in the sense it can go around corners and it can do inner curves, outer curves. Therefore, it gives you a lot of flexibility. And it's come a long way in the last few years as well. It was very much thought of as an inferior product probably 10 to 15 years ago. But in many cases now, this edge, as you can see, it doesn't tend to be glued, but it's actually lasered on. In some cases it's glued, and that is worth checking with your manufacturer in terms of how they put it on. Is it glued or is it lasered? In this particular case, you can see this is onto a chipboard substrate, or a chipboard core if you like, that's the board. Can be applied to MDF, but as is with most boards, we tend to find that ABS PVC is better applied to a chipboard core. On a classroom table, you tend to see that 18mm, so therefore the edge will be 18mm. Good product, quite tough, tends to be more at the budget end, but still not the best of what's available for a classroom, but an excellent edge for anything office furniture or workplace. The next edging type that we're looking at today is spray PU edge, PU standing for polyurethane. There are two types of polyurethane edges, PU edges, that are commonly available on classroom tables in particular. One is the spray PU edge, which is the one that we're looking at here. It's quite a thin application, and as the name suggests, it's a spray application onto an MDF board. It's got a big brother called CASTU, which we'll cover later on in this video. This product's relatively new to the marketplace. It's been out there now for, I would guess, around about five years. Certainly it's become popular on classroom tables in the last 5 years or so. And it's popular really for two reasons. It's very tough, and it comes, or it's easy to apply to a number of shapes of classroom tables. So, for example, the table that I'm working at today is a classroom table. As you can see, it's a bit of a weird and wonderful shape. So we can get away from the traditional square, rectangular and trapezoidal shapes and into areas of circles and curves and so on. This particular product has got a textured edge, and it's worth mentioning that because it has a textured edge, you can see I'm picking at it there with my thumbnail, not perhaps ideal for dining areas where some would consider that to be a little bit of a food trap, but ideal for a classroom area. And I guess because it's ever so slightly textured, although it's a tough product, it does encourage picking, which is something that you might want to consider if you're putting it into a classroom environment. If that's a concern, then we would advise you looking at the CASTU product, which we'll show you in a moment or two. Right, so the final edging product that we're going to look at, in particular in relation to classroom tables today, is what we call the CASTU edge, which really is the Rolls-Royce of table edges, and something that we pioneered in Remploy Furniture and have continued into our life at Ministry of Furniture. We would always say that this is the best classroom table edge that you can go for, that you can select, for a number of reasons. I'll try and explain why. In another video, we showed you the spray PU edge, and as I turn them side on, they're both PU, but you should be able to see there the thicknesses in terms of the application. The cast PU edge, which is this product here, is clearly a far thicker edge. The other key difference that you may notice there is that the spray PU edge is applied to an MDF board, whereas the cast PU edge is applied to a chipboard. Chipboard doesn't mean cheap and cheerful. In this particular case, because the substance is porous, you can probably just see that very slight bleed into the chipboard, which means it is totally bonded to the core. So for a student to try and remove that edge, they would have to remove the core as well. And in practical terms, it just doesn't happen. This is the toughest of all the edges without going to a solid grade laminate itself. It comes in a range of colours, so we can fit in with any scheme that you might have in mind. And a lot of classrooms, we tend to advise that the way to get the colour in the classroom is not from going for garish colours with the top, keep it quite subtle, and go with a coloured edge that will tend to bring the classroom to life a little bit more. The product has been on the market now since around about 1990. It's well tried, it's well tested. In many cases, it's offered with a lifetime guarantee. Certainly the minimum you should be expecting on this product is a 10 to 15 year guarantee, which I think demonstrates the sort of wear and tear that you can put this product through. From years and years of experience of making this product in Remploy, we found that was the best board to apply a cast PU edge to by far. The reason for that is the board is porous, and you'll be able to pick up there's a slight bleed of the colour, which is actually the plastic into the board itself. So for a student to detach that, they would actually have to detach the board, which would totally destroy the table, obviously. It's almost impossible to do. I mean, obviously, if somebody's so minded, they can destroy a product. That product is trade named PU 1729, which is a trade name that we brought through Ministry of Furniture, and it's manufactured to the exact specification of the Remploy product. I stress that because we need to be careful in the market these days. There are imitations to that product, but they tend to be adhered to an MDF board, a little bit like this one here. Now, in our experience, a cast PU edge does not adhere as well to an MDF board, for the simple reason that the MDF isn't as porous. So we don't get this effect going on where it's actually seeped into the board itself. Additionally, the manufacturer of a cast PU edge onto an MDF board doesn't tend to balance the underside of the table, and you can see there that we balance the underside of the product. So again, a moment of advice really, and a moment of experience on this. Always check with your manufacturer when we're talking about a cast PU edge, what is the board that it's adhered to? Our experience, the best one you can go for is chipboard. So in summary, that is cast PU, the exact match to the Remploy product, and in our opinion, the best edge that you can put on a classroom table. Okay everybody, well hopefully you found that information helpful. If you do need to find out any more about anything that you've seen today, best place to visit is www.ministryoffurniture.com.